So here's a quick review of the procedures for rounding. You're probably going to hear my washing machine in the background because I'm in the washroom. This is where my office is. Okay, so let's just review what it means to round. You probably already remember how to do this, but just a quick review is always helpful. So in these first set of problems, we're asked to round to the nearest tenths place. So you'll always pay attention to the place that you're asked to round to. And if we look at these examples, the way I usually think about it is I underline the tenths place so I know where I'm rounding to. So I'm rounding to the tenths place, and if we want to know how to round, we always look to our neighbor on the right. And if on the right we see 1, 2, 3, or 4, that means that whatever place we're rounding to, I always say that we stay. So that means then that our final rounding here is 32.7. It's going to stay a 7, and then everything else is gone. So if we round 32.73, we get 32.7. So here, let's look here. If we look to the right here, we see the number 6. So if you see 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 to the right, that means you go up, or the place that you're rounding to goes up. So that means that our 7 is going up to 8. 6 goes away. Everything after the 8 goes away, and our final answer is 32.8. Once again, this last example, we want to round to the nearest tenths place. The tenths place I've underlined. I look to the right, and I see a 5. If I see a 5, that means that 7 goes up to 8. And all the other numbers go away. We just ignore, and we're there at 8. Okay, so we're going to use the same procedure. We're just going to round to some different places to make sure that you're just okay. If you ever see round to the nearest whole number, round to the nearest whole numbers really means we're rounding to the ones place. So the place right before the decimal point. So if we're going to round these to the nearest whole number, first let's find that ones place, that whole number place. We look to the right, we see an 8. An 8 pushes that 4 up to a 5, and then everything else becomes 0. You could just write 15, or you could write 15.0. It's okay. What about this next one? If we're going to round to the nearest ones place, right, there's the ones place. We look and we see a 2. The 2 tells the 3 to stay. So 250, 3 stays a 3, and everybody else is gone. And then in this last case over here, I want to round to the ones place. The ones place is where the 9 is. I look to the right to find out what I'm supposed to do. I see a 5. A 5 says the 5 has to move up. But when you move 9 up, it moves up to 10. So this actually goes all the way up to 20 because that 1 gets pushed up to 2. And that's rounding to the nearest whole number. There's the washing machine. So now, just these last ones is just being redundant now. So if you just want to turn off the tape, that's fine. I think you've got the idea. But if it says round to 3 decimal places, that means we want that third place to be the last place that we have. So again, we look to the right to find out what we should do. Looks like that 1 should stay. So it's 2, 1, 1, and then everybody else is gone. The same thing here. If we're rounding to 3 decimal places, you find the third place over going this way. It's a 6. The 6 looks to the right and see a 5. The 5 pushes the 6 up to a 7. So the final answer is 52.007. And then just one more just for fun. Let's look and see the third decimal place. We have a 0 here. We look to the right. We see a 1. The 1 says for that 0 to stay a 0. So 0 is going to stay 0. Everything in front is going to stay the way they are. And then there's nothing left. Okay, that's a quick review of rounding.